Hello everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to create mixed media puppets. The supplies that you're going to need are acrylic yarn, Sculpey clay, wire, acrylic paint, and polyfill foam cushions. Alright, let's get started. So you want to draw out your character's general size, their body shape, and the structural parts that you don't want to bend on your armature. I recommend drawing out a character sheet before this step so you can get a general vibe and feel of what you need for your character in future steps. So let's get into the armature. I recommend getting two types of wire for this part, one more durable for the structural parts I mentioned before, and a pliable, easier to bend one for the other parts. As you can see, I reinforced mine with the other wire to act as the bones of my character. This step is very important, as it provides you a layout for all the work you'll be doing on top of this, so make sure to measure your wire and confirm everything is the right length before continuing. Next, we're going to be buffing up the body with some polyfill foam cushions. I understand that this might be outside of your budget, but this is my preferred foam because it has a melting point of 392 degrees Fahrenheit. This means that you can continue with building up the body and you don't have to worry about the foam melting in the heat. Here you can see that I'm using quick hold glue. This isn't the only type of glue that you can use though. I've seen people use hot glue, fabric glue, whatever they have on hand, and it's come out successful. I'm pressing together each of the pieces until they seal, and then I'm moving on to the next piece to do the same. You're going to want to continue this process until the majority of the mass on the body is bulked up. Doing this bulking with foam keeps the figure still bendable versus using something like aluminum and clay, which creates a stable, immovable figure, something that you would display on a shelf rather than moving it around for stop motion animation. Now, you're going to see quite a bit of a mess, and this was from trimming all the excess pieces off of my foam body. You only need what's necessary for a natural figure to be shown underneath, and afterwards you should end up with something that looks a bit like this. Moving on to the easiest step, we're going to be creating the head of our figure. So you want to start with a densely packed ball of aluminum foil and stick it on top of a piece of wire that you can hold in place. Then you're going to take a very thin sheet of clay and lay it on top of the aluminum foil, creating the skull for your figure. I like to smooth it over with some isopropyl alcohol. It can also remove any stray hairs, fingerprints, etc. that get on top of your piece. Then you're going to want to add all of your defining details, you know, the things that make your character your character. So you're going to want to add the eye sockets, the nose, the lips, the teeth if you're adding teeth, and definitely some ears. Now this isn't a painting tutorial, so I'm not going to go super into depth with what I did to paint my character. I used very cheap paints for this project just to show what it looks like when you're doing it on a budget. Then you're going to take some acrylic yarn and you're going to flat iron it out and brush it out until it becomes silky, and that's what we're going to be using for the hair on our character. And again, you're going to be seeing me use quick hold glue. This is the best glue for crafting. It can be used on multiple surfaces and it's a pretty quick and cheap bonding agent. Let's just finish her off with a quick haircut, a hairstyle, and a little accessory to make her more cute, more fantasy, more girly pop. You know how it is. Alright, now let's finally move on to the clothing. The clothing is pretty simple, but it's always important to choose the right fabric. I attempted to make a sweater out of this pink material that you see on screen, but I ended up having to scrap this because the holes were too loose in the material and it made it nearly impossible for me to make a cohesive outfit. So then I switched to a black tank top material and finished her off with a brown apron from some scraps I found in my fabric. And this is how she turned out. Let me know what you think, and if you want a more in-depth tutorial on how to tackle the hand issue or the feet issue in the future. And if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, leave a comment for any future videos, and hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.